Let's go. All right, we are recording. Hi, and welcome to the second installment of Zoom sessions. Today, we are lucky enough to be joined by former professional NRL player, Nate Myles, to talk a little bit about his career and what he's learned about investing money smartly. As I'm sure we've all heard the story of a footballer, athlete that once retired, ended up with nothing. But firstly, how you going, Nate?
Really good. Thanks, brother. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Seeing how we go today. Mate, how long have we known each other?
Well, considering we're first cousins, I think it's been 35 of the 35 years we've been on this earth.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't discover each other until a bit later, yeah, but we probably have known each other since babies.
Known of each other, yeah.
Known of each other, yeah, correctly. I mean, we started playing football. You started when you were 6. I would have been about 7 or 8. I think I started playing.
Yeah, I was 5.
5.
No, I just turned 6. Sorry, for under 7s. Yeah, did that twice and then kept on going from there. But we didn't get the speed demon centre. You didn't come in till a bit later.
A bit later, yeah. Well, the mother wouldn't drive me in for soccer, so I had to play league. Mate, look, let's get into it. Can you tell us a little bit about your career and what you learned about investing your money from the start of your career, from obviously when you first signed a decent contract to maybe through to the end 2017 when you retired?
Yeah, look, money was a little bit sort of hard to come by early on in my career, mate. It wasn't. I don't think the money that is getting thrown around today, or I should say, as of last year, I think contracts will be a little bit different now in the NRL, but money just wasn't forked out as reoccurringly or as easy as it is now. You know, when I came through into first grade, it was pretty much a 3-tier system, mate. It was you're either a first grade squad participant, which you sort of get ranked off that. You know, you could be number 1. You know, you could be your Sonny Bill of the squad, and you know you're going to get paid, or you could be just making the cutoff of the top squad, which used to be the top 25, but now is the top 30. There was that tier, and then there was, you know, like your good part of that tier, which is, you know, your constant first graders who have been there for 5 to 10 years, you know, week in, week out, durable players. And then you've got your representative players, and your representative players obviously rank off international games or state of origin. And that's sort of where you want it to be. That was the echelons of football. But you think now there's players nearly in the $1 million category that haven't played a rep game. You know, I won't call any of them out, as in I won't name them, but to me, that's just congratulations. If you're going to get paid that, you get paid that. So I like that style of it in some ways. But when I first came in, it was just a ranking system. If you played rep, you know, you had bonuses in your contract. You always signed as a young player on pretty minimal money. But I think the decision with real estate and investing with your money when it's so minimal, it's quite easy. You just don't really do it. You know, you just, it's when you start to get a bit of money and people may be aware of the income you're getting every month, that I think your investing gets a little bit more difficult. So when I was young and when we first went into first grade, I didn't really stray away from the footpath, you know, the line that everyone seems to take in the Australian mentality of real estate, which was lucky for me because I actually enjoyed it.
You do. You've actually bought and sold a fair few properties. I do realise you've got that beautiful property at home that one day, you still got that actually? Did you get rid of
that? East Trinity?
Yeah.
Yeah, still got that. That's retirement for Mum, I think.
What a man! What a son! That's fantastic. I mean, you touched on property there a little bit, and about how obviously, I mean, you were signed for what was it? We were signed for $3,000 when we first moved down there.
Yeah, it was $480 a month we were getting. Right. I think. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, not including match payments of $100, which was pretty intense.
Now and then, again, obviously, sometimes at the end of the month there was some fees taken out, and you ended up with $100, sort of thing.
But that was a lot of Bundaberg rum back in them days, Frizzo. Remember?
And I mean, this is a bit off track, but I think a lot of people don't realise too, when you're on those fringes, and like you're saying, there's different tiers. A lot of players before they make a decent contract, they're training just as hard as most professionals are, and they're working all day. And so trying to juggle all that and getting that not much of pay is quite hard. So I mean, it would have been a difficult time, and obviously coming into that 3-tier sort of stuff, and obviously with money getting thrown around now, it is a lot different. I think it can be good and it can be bad in certain instances, but I mean that's off track. That's another conversation, another conversation we can have. Mate, so playing NRL, I was going to ask you a question of like investing in property and whatnot. What were the sort of people you sort of surrounded yourself with to make the right decisions?
Yeah, look, it's hard to sort of pinpoint a trait on anyone that's been influential in my life that's gone on to make, tenfold the income of what you invested, or is just banged out of this world. The interesting thing now is we sit sort of hopefully now at the back end of this COVID scenario, but they're predicting a lot more drama ahead of us. So they're saying that the bad side of it sort of happened, but the repercussions of JobKeeper and all of these other things aren't going to really be hit until early September, sort of that time when all that stops. So if we fast forward to then, we've both sort of sat either purchasing property or in the work industry through the GFC and now this COVID. So we sort of hit two scenarios in not even 2 decades. So a lot of the people that I surround myself with, I find now they all have that similar perspective on life, where they might have lost or they might have won, but they're always positive. They're always thinking, that's cool, I'm fine. Like, my ass still points to the ground. I'm not dead. I'm healthy. I may be a little bit unhealthy, but I'm not going to tell you about it. But they're all positive. And I find that to be by far the most common trait in people that I enjoy hanging around, or people that I have aligned myself with through the years of first grade. And because I always say now, I wish I had a black book and I just kept everyone's names and networked better and did numbers. But I used to actually frown upon players who networked when we went to events, because I thought, look at him, he's just an ass kisser. He's just not doing it for the right reasons. But it's not really about that. It's about meeting people and sort of understanding what you like and what you like. But definitely the number one trait for people, and I could say their names easily, Ron Jellick, Craig Fitzgibbon, these people, they're just positive. They're just non-stop positivity all the way through their life.
No challenge.
They get hit with the biggest ups and downs, but you wouldn't know about it. It's always the people that tell you how bad work is or how much they get paid. I steer my boat a little bit away from them, mate.
No, that's good. It's a good way to be. And you are right. Being positive and on the front foot is, and trying to predict also what's happening and take a bit of the past, try to predict the future, always be positive. And as the saying goes out of Nemo, just keep swimming.
That's it. Hey, mate, we've made some pretty irrational decisions as a family post-retirement. We've been retired 3 years now, but I've still always said to my wife, it's only the wrong decisions if you make it the wrong decisions. Like it's only going to be, oh shit, we shouldn't have done that, if you actually look at your situation and think it could have been better. Like,
yeah,
we now look back, we've actually sort of decided to settle down a bit and not travel so much. So I reckon we're going to be in one place for 6 months now at least. But it's just something that we've always said. We just said, mate, it's only the wrong decision if you make it the wrong decision.
Well, you have touched on that, and that was sort of the next question with retirement. You're a husband, you're a dad, and life has obviously changed a lot. What was the immediate change financially? Not having that, obviously, that direct NRL sort of income.
Yeah, look, mate, that's by far the biggest adjustment I think that players have to make. There's a financial stimulus at the end of every month as a football player, and that you get paid great money. We get paid monthly. It was always monthly. And at the end of every month or halfway through the month, depending on what club you're at, you get a hit of your, you know, one of your 12 payments for the year. And it can be broken down into some great amounts of money. Although the tax man's very interested in what you're doing, but he takes a big chunk. But, you know, every month you have this reoccurring payment of this amazing contract. And you sort of create this lifestyle of being able to sort of fix and correct whatever you've done for that month. Like if you've gone out and drunk 3 nights in a row on the weekend, which used to be the old days, you could fix that up come Monday morning, because you could just pay your credit card off, or wait till you get paid again and you get paid before you have to pay interest on it. So every month we had this amazing way of correcting a lifestyle. And then when you stop playing, you fall into that, oh shit, I get paid weekly if I'm working, or maybe fortnightly, but I can't fix up what I've done. Fuck, shit. And you start to fall backwards and backwards, and it's just not changing the lifestyle. And I've always said, however lucky we are as rugby league players to be transitioning from school straight into you know, a full-time gig or a full-time spot in first grade, we haven't been hit with that scenario in life where a lot of people get hit at year 12 or year 10, where they start to work out what they want to do. And we get stimulated into creating these ways of living, which is great, man. I wouldn't change a thing. But then you get hit when you're 31, 32, 35, if you're even lucky, ever that lucky to get there, that you have to then work your shit out. And it kind of, you know, steps you back a little bit in your path, and you have to adjust to it. I've got a very black and white, honest, wise wife. So the situation for me was made pretty clear and pretty clear earlier that things had to sort of be changed for what we were doing. I think my son helped us as well. You know, in 2017, when I retired, he was born at the end of that year. Yeah. And, you know, my full-time job then went to being a father, and that's pretty much what I do now, other than my businesses. So I'm very lucky that way. But yeah, damn, his nappies and milk formula. It's fantastic. It's a habit.
Would have been a total change for me. Yeah, it's probably perfect time to take your mind away from everything. You have this beautiful little boy. You sort of touched on then that your businesses now. What are your businesses and what do you do?
So, look, mate, I've still got the F45s. I was very fortunate to be involved with them and asked to be involved with them a long time ago, 5-6 years ago now. So I've still got them going. We've purchased another one in Cairns last year, and we're looking at acquiring another. I want 3, but yeah, definitely another one this year. I like to sit down and sort of write out what I like to do, and I like to break it down as not just acquiring sites as an F45 purchase a territory, but, you know, fundamentally breaking it down to the members in each one and sort of averaging off that, so we can sort of make sure everyone's doing all right. But yeah, we'll keep focusing on the F45s at the moment, mate, and definitely keep on building. I think it's a way for me anyway to stay involved in the community, and you know, going from training with 30 blokes and hanging out with some really good mates every day to sort of being a stay-at-home dad to now getting back into you know, that side of it. I find it a very, very good way to stay involved with people and keeping that element of I wouldn't say socializing, mate, but definitely hanging out with them.
Yeah, that's a good way to be. And I guess you are, well, what you're saying then, you are positive. You have learned you are positive, because it'd be hard right now. They're all closed, I'm guessing, with this COVID, and it's been a big learning curve. Some people run where you seem to be forging ahead. You've taken the positive out of it, and we purchased another 2 or 3 or 9 or 10. See how we go.
Yeah, I'd like to go 10, mate. I'd like to go 10. Well, also too on that, Frizz, it's this COVID. I suppose the way to look at it for me is that it's been eye-opening, and it's definitely eye-opening for the way that you see how businesses are evolving with it. You know, you see cafes are obviously sticking to what they do, but they're just changing their business model a bit. F45 as a whole has done pretty well to sort of transfer into an online program, but the online area of fitness at the moment has really been dominated by a few people and a few companies over the last few years. You know, I know that Chris Hemsworth's one online does really well, that covers a lot of aspects of life, and the Kayla Itzin's one, but Itzin's, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but F45's trying to do that, but we're in an environment there or a realm that's not really what our forte is. You know, ours is about positive peer pressure and getting in a group and,
Yeah.
you know, really getting people outside of their comfort zones. You know, and people might come from playing tennis all their life and they come into a group training thing and they're like, oh, this is amazing. Whereas we've, you know, me and you, rugby league, we've always sort of had that environment.
Yeah.
So we understand what it's like. Gone the days when you used to just be the fat boy at the back of the group. Yeah, everyone wants to be doing it together now.
Talk about yourself there, right? Not me.
Oh yeah, you weren't skinny your whole life.
Well, we were quite big at the age of 17, 18 when we first got there. We were quite chubby, but that got
Yeah, but yeah, back onto it. That's the way I think this stuff is stimulating people now who are approaching it the right way to, like, my biggest one, mate, and I'm not afraid to say, I've only got one source of income really, other than, you know, my real estate, which is, you know, tends to sort of go up and down. Like I said, we've been through two pretty big economical things in life. We now sit at a place where my sole income that, you know, keeps us able to sort of be doing what we want to do has now been halted. So now I'm thinking, well, let's progress on what that is and get that back up to its strength, but then also venture into something else, because you don't want all of your income stopping.
Yeah, it's a good idea. It's good that you've learned from that. Mate, fantastic. Lastly, the future for Nate Myles, apart from obviously F45 gyms, where do you see yourself in the immediate future and in 5 years? Yeah, Gladstone and come live with me, mate. I'll have a good time. Young ones can grow up.
We're gonna pop up and see you next month for sure. But in my vision in 5 years, I want to have an old troopy with 4 kids and a couple of boards in the back of it, and just be driving down to a beach for the weekend. But look, I definitely think, you know, just what I said prior to that, having the ability to sort of venture out into different areas of income, just being able to be free of you know, being locked into something. You know, I've actually never had to, since retiring, sort of go to a job and check in and punch in and punch out and do all that. So I'd like to keep running that route, but I'd definitely like to venture into other stuff and just not rely on one avenue, like one stream to fill the pond up.
Yeah, we'll start Miles Real Estate in a couple of years, man. I think it'd be fantastic with it.
Oh yeah, look, I actually would. I probably wouldn't think about starting my own real estate, but real estate is something I definitely want to get back into. Or, as you know, I was very hard on real estate when I was young. I think I got up to I think I was at 8 properties at one stage, and I wish I just stayed on that line. You know, I wish I just didn't. I wish I rode the waves of, you know, GFC and all that other stuff, and just sort of didn't stress as much as I did, and stayed a little bit better mind framed and just kept everything. I wish I just did that. That would be my only sort of hesitation on what I've done.
You live and you learn, mate, but at least you've learned from it.
Mm.
Well, thank you, Nate, for joining me today. I really appreciate it, mate. It's been a good chat. And a little bit about your story. Obviously, we could talk for a lot longer.
Oh yeah.
You to drop in here, man.
A couple of good stories. I've got a couple of good stories on you. I could let out if you want.
Got plenty, but probably not for the Zoom sessions. But no, I really do appreciate it, mate. And to everyone who's watching today, I hope you got a little bit out of that today. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you can, like I said, I hope you can take a little bit of something from Nate's journey. I'm Jamie Frizzo. Thanks again, Nate, and thanks for watching.
Anytime, brother.
Thanks, mate.
See you, mate.